Hi everyone, Trish Belmore, Greater Wabash Food Council. Thanks for stopping by this video for the farmers market vendors that will be serving in the Greater Wabash region this summer. So wanted to tell you a little bit about our organization, introduce the programs. So Ginn Farms is our nonprofit organization, our fiscal sponsor. That is the original organization that we started, and when we started working with local food in 2016 in southeastern Indiana over in the Cincinnati area, and worked with farmers markets and farm to school in that region. We did actually move to the business and personally in 2022 to Lawrence County in Illinois, and I just have fallen in love with the state. I love everything about what's happening over here, and I'm excited to be part of the Greater Wabash region. So we're going to talk a little bit today about the farmers markets, and hopefully you'll leave the video with a clear sense of how you're going to get paid from Snapbucks. So one of the things that was fun about hosting those in-person vendor training meetings was to learn folks' background and experience that they had with the farmers market so that we could be sure that we catered the training specifically to those needs. So we're going to assume that everyone watching this video is coming into this as an entry level and that they've not ever been a vendor at a farmers market, and share some information that will help them be successful. And so obviously great reasons to participate in farmers markets. If you are having a hard time connecting with customers just on social media or just word of mouth, it's a great way to interact with the community, and not only will you be meeting people that want to buy your product, but other vendors might not know about your product as well. So it's a great direct interaction with the customer. It's a great way to pull customers if you're considering pricing or packaging or the variety. Sometimes people want to grow all different kinds of varieties of one particular item. And so, to ask your customers, what other pepper would you like to see? What other tomato would you buy if it were available? And so some farmers really enjoy that, and it's a great way to build your business. And, farmers markets are a fantastic way to support local agriculture. Local agriculture doesn't have to be row crops, beans and corn. Agriculture, specialty crops, growing the food that people eat is very important. And the closer we can have the source to the customer, the higher nutrient density we have, the fresher the product is going to taste, and the money that local farmer is going to make, about 78 cents of that money stays in the community. So it's a great economic opportunity for the community. And also the farmers market is a great way to build customer loyalty. They get used to seeing you there every week. They know you're going to be there with your eggs, and they're going to come visit you. So those are some good reasons to consider being a farmers market vendor. So when you're considering what types of products that you want to sell at the farmers market, you're going to see a whole wide range of products. And it's really important for us to talk about how we want to see a very diversified vendor at the market. And so we want to see 3 to 5 vegetable vendors at every market. And that is really the key to driving a farmer's market, is multiple farmers markets, or I'm sorry, vegetable vendors. It doesn't create competition. It is actually what makes the customer pull over their car to stop. So it starts the whole party. So first important thing is we want to see 10 vendors at every market, and we want 3 of them to be fruits and vegetables. So we want to see honey, bread, baked goods, all of those kind of condiments, jams, jellies, barbecue sauce, coffee, all of those kind of things that help a consumer fill a whole grocery bag of items. Maybe a full meal they're able to pick up there, or maybe 2 or 3 meals that they can complete right there while they're at the market. So those are the things that we'll be focusing on. For non-food vendors, items that are made for the food consumption, like maybe a cutting board or, hand forged items, things like that, are going to be given priority. And we want it, because there is a focus for 10 tables, we do want to include some non-food artisan, maybe crafter items, but they are going to be limited to only 2 tables per week per market. So the things we want to be focusing on are those things that fill that grocery bag, those things that are SNAP and eligible, so that we can help promote the SNAP Double Buck program that we're working on. So location has been a key consideration through this ramp up period for us, and some locations actually might still change. There might be a couple of changes in the final location of the 6 markets because of foot traffic consideration, because of parking lot safety, and a couple of other factors that we want to just be sure that the location is safe and close and accessible to all customers. So when you get to a market site, your best bet is check in at the information booth, and the market manager is going to be there at the information booth, and they're going to be able to help let you know the best place for you to set up. We are hoping to create an obvious flow from the information booth all the way through to the end, where we have vegetable vendors flanking each end of the market. That's going to be an important strategy. And if the third vegetable vendor is there, that person will go right in the middle. And that way we really are encouraging the customer to walk all the way through the market, because most people that are coming to the farmers market are coming because they want fresh vegetables. So check in, and you might, some markets will have accessibility for your vehicle to be right there. Some markets you'll be encouraged to move your vehicle so that we can keep prime parking for the customers up front. All right, so booth design and layout. I want to encourage you to maybe do some internet research, maybe some Pinterest searching for what a farmer's market table should look like, and think about vertical height. So if you can avoid just having everything laid out flat on your table, that's going to really add some visual interest. Think about using things that can, in your home, that you could add visual height, things like maybe an upside down Amazon small, box that was a delivery of something turned upside down. Throw an attractive towel or napkin over it, and maybe a fun t-shirt, and now you can put something on top of that box, and now you've created that visual interest. Another really fun way is in the kitchen. Some kitchens have the pie plate. It's usually vertical, has a dome lid over it. That's a really pretty accessory at your farmer's market. Now the dome lid might get broken moving it back and forth, but that bottom piece that's usually pretty sturdy, that's the kind of thing that you're looking for. Maybe you've got a fun piece of a candy dish or some piece of glassware at your house, or a wooden bowl or something like that that's pretty. Think about incorporating those kinds of things into your table display. Make sure that your pricing is displayed. People don't really enjoy, in our community, in the Midwest in general, don't really enjoy bartering for items. They want to know what the price is up front. Now, not to say that they won't say, I see your price is $4, would you take $3.50? That may happen, but you're going to offend more people by not pricing things, and they'll continue to walk past your booth. Just saying from experience. So be sure you're using legible pricing. Keep it simple, round to the whole dollar or 50-cent mark, and be sure that you're aware of what the cottage food laws are about labeling your products. If you are selling maybe a loaf of bread or anything that you've baked, or an ingredient that you've turned into a salad or a jam and such, make sure that you've got the appropriate labels on that. So effective signage and branding really makes a difference. And so the kids tell me that Canva is a great application to use, that you can create some fun things on. I really struggle with it. I prefer PowerPoint, old school that way, I guess, but there are a lot of AI driven programs out there that'll help you come up with fun signage and branding these days. Pick a logo, something that is trendy or something that is simple, and just go with it. It doesn't have to be perfect. You can change it later, and there are no rules. If you find something that isn't connecting with the consumer, then change it. I honestly did asked a polling at a market one time for a logo that we were launching. And so everyone that walked by, I said, come over here, help vote on my logo. It was a great way to engage folks. We had like 4 or 5 logos, and people just voted. They just put a tick mark under which logo they liked better. And we just counted. And at the end of the market, we did it for a couple of weeks. And then we launched with the logo that the consumers had felt like they identified best with. So all sorts of ways that you can come up with that logo, and certainly feel free to change it. So social media, obviously a big conversation in marketing these days. A lot of folks in our communities tend to respond well on Facebook. We do notice when we look at our metrics that the 18 to 24 demographic is not responding, and that's really just because that age group is not on Facebook. And so I hear most of them, my kids and their friends, talk about Snapchat. I know that Facebook is easy to link with Instagram, and I know that those other platforms exist. At this point, we are just on social media with Facebook, and but this is something, for you to be considering while you're running your business, because your vendor spot is your business. So feel free to connect with your customers in any way that is the best way for your business. So, competitive pricing. Want to be clear that again, this is your business. Your vendor table is your representation of your goods, and you're selling them to your customers. And so we are not going to get involved with price setting. I know a lot of markets I've been with have said like, oh, honey has to be this price, jam has to be this price. I think that that really takes the fun out of running your business as an entrepreneur in the way that makes the most sense for you. Maybe you spent a whole bunch of money to purchase blueberries versus someone who has wild blackberries growing on their lot. And so that is an important factor when you're setting your prices, thinking about the cost of goods that you purchased and what your costs were to make that, and then add your percentage. What is your margin that you're hoping to add? Hopefully you're looking 30% or 50% margin to earn income. So do the market research. Maybe you offer an item at a certain price for the first 3 weeks or the first 6 weeks, and you don't really move products, and maybe you change the price down 5%, and all of a sudden you notice that you're selling more. So that's that market research. That's the data analysis that you can be performing right there at your booth every week. You have that opportunity to collect data to help you know what is going to be what the customer is going to respond to, and you can be most productive. So the person who sells it at the least the price isn't necessarily the one that makes the most money. They might just be the one that sells the most items. So certainly look at that. We have some fun spreadsheets that we can help you project profit and margin if you feel like that you're struggling to set prices. And certainly open to conversation, market managers or myself, to help you be running the best prices so you're competitive. Well, so handling transactions efficiently. I'm not sure how this is going to translate over the video, if you guys will be able to see this, but money transactions, you're going to, again, this is your business, you're going to accept the forms of payments that you are the most comfortable with at your vending spot. And so if that's all cash, that's usually what most folks accept at the farmer's market. If you have access to Venmo or, Square, or you want to receive electronic payments and you're comfortable with that, that's between you and your customer. It may limit your customer, or it may increase your customer to, if you went to only electronic payment, I think that would limit your customer. But offering both and using the correct signage, that may be a benefit. The only other transaction that we want to talk about is the SNAP transaction. And so that's the only way that we're involved with any money transacting. So the customer is going to come in, hopefully in this logical fashion that we've created the flow, starting at the information booth. And if they're a SNAP customer, they're going to connect with our market manager at that time. They're going to swipe their card, and for every dollar that they elect to withdraw from their account, our grant is going to double that amount. So if they swipe for 10, they get 10. If they swipe for 25, they get 25. So we're going to give them coupons. And so we have $5 coupons and $1 coupons. They're blue and they're yellow. And so there is no change. And so when you're thinking about your pricing, the 50 cents is a problem. You're going to either have to round up the dollar, or the customer is going to have to agree to donate that extra 50 cents to your organization. So anyway, if they pay with a $5 for something that's $3, we want to give them two $1 back. But yeah, they're going to have a mix of these items as their first dollar that they would get. Now, those are items, when you get to the information booth, you're going to see these green flyers there, and it does a great job of explaining SNAP and what's eligible. And so these top items, you can see maybe, these are the things that they would traditionally have access to if they were in a grocery store. And so fruits and vegetables, meat, fish, and poultry, dairy products, breads and cereals, snack foods, non-alcoholic beverages, and seeds and plants. So very important to understand, you can use these blue and yellow SNAP dollars for seeds and plants. So please come out, show up with those items. Those are going to be the first dollar, is those items on the top of this first dollar. Now, because of the match, they're going to get a second dollar, and it is this super fancy, beautiful green link match coupon, and it says right on the front of it, only fruits and vegetables. And you'll notice on the bottom here, it has a picture of what appears to be the same coupon, as it kind of helps you remember only fruits and vegetables. So if you have this tool at your table and the customer comes to pay, you'll be able to quickly identify where they fit in with their payment. Also, the market manager will probably go around in the morning and share with you things on your table. This is first dollar, this is second dollar. So the first dollar that they get, that's the one they would automatically get. That's the blue and the yellow first dollar. The second dollar is the matched link. That's the free dollar that they're going to get for every dollar they swipe. So be sure you understand what's happening. We want to allow these customers privacy. We don't want to be like bellowing across the market, hey Sally, what do I do with these food stamp dollars, and drawing attention, because that's the number one reason, the feedback from the customer, the reason they don't want to participate in the program is they felt awkward and felt like other people knew that they were paying with a different form of tender. So we have some coupon programs coming up over the season that will help all kinds of people be paying with different kinds of coupons, and that will help the SNAP coupon folks not feel so singled out, because there'll be all different colors of coupons floating around the market being spent. And so, that being said, help understand the program. It's going to help minimize the checkout time and just make everything comfortable and convenient. If you have questions, please talk to your market manager for understanding this project. All right, are you still with me? We've covered an awful lot of information, and I appreciate you sticking through these last few slides. We're almost done here. So, understanding local regulations and permits. What I want to tell you is, if you are selling vegetables and fruit, fresh fruits and vegetables, you don't have any local permits that you need to be concerned about. If you sell eggs for $15, you want to register at the egg board. No big deal, name, address, phone number kind of thing, and takes just a few minutes, and $15 is super cheap for them to be able to allow you to sell your eggs. There are some rules around the safety of that, and them being in coolers, and they need to be chilled and that sort of thing. We want to be safe about how we handle our food, because we are in the process of connecting farmers with eaters, and if someone gets sick at one of our markets, we're not going to be able to fulfill that objective. So be sure that you connect with that egg board. Now, will someone be looking for your egg board license? I'm not sure. I don't know how that works. But it's my responsibility, it's the market manager's responsibility to say, hey, did you get your egg license? The other thing is Cottage Food Laws. So if you are going to put a knife to it, basically, if you're going to take food and you're going to process it in some way, you're going to change its natural state, whether that means you're cutting the watermelon and selling cups of pre-cut watermelon, that's going to require labeling, packaging, and a cottage food license. So, excuse me, follow the link for the cottage food license. It's $25. It's an online course, super easy to take. I did it on a Saturday. It's fantastic information about food safety, and we want to just emphasize how important hand washing is when you're considering food safety. So if you're in the field and you are using knife to cut the lettuce and you come in the house, wash your hands, change knives, move to a clean work surface. Now begin to wash the lettuce. At the time you're done with the lettuce, now wash your hands again, because now you're going to move to a clean cutting surface and with a clean knife to start preparing that lettuce. Use that kind of mindset as you work with your fresh vegetables, and look for ways to mitigate any contamination with outside pests and soil. So the other thing I want to talk about when you're signing up for things is signing up for the market food maker. I'm going to put those links on directly on the slide later. It'll read better, I think. So, any questions about regulations, what permits are necessary? Check in with the market master. And customers may ask you about your licensing. And if the Board of Health were to show up and ask you about your licensing, they would likely require you to take your tent down that day, or at least stop selling the items that don't meet the requirements, and that might be embarrassing and not very good press. So we want to be sure that we're following these state-sanctioned trainings for how we safely vend local foods at local markets. Oops. And so I talked about some of this in the last slide. So if you are going to sell something at the market that is prepared, you want to prepare at home in your kitchen where you have access to running water. If your market offers hand washing abilities, you could also offer sampling of your products. And if you're selling jams and jellies, that's the fastest, best way to sell something, is to offer samples. And food preparation standards, you're going to just follow all those rules on the cottage food slides. All right, so round in the home plate here. record keeping and reporting requirements. So this is super important for you to understand. As an independent business entrepreneur, um, you are in charge of your record keeping. Your record keeping is between you and the IRS, and we are not tracking any sales for anyone. When you are involved in the SNAP program, the numbers that we are turning into the USDA are the total dollars that were spent at the market that day and the total number of transactions that we had selling the SNAP. So there's nothing that's tracked specifically to you. It's all on my social security number and the Greater Wabash Food Council's EIN. And that's important for you to understand in your, some people want to run a total cash business and don't want anything reflecting of them in that way. That's important to know. Inventory tracking, it's very important to know. And the other thing that's very, if you're a new vendor, keep very, very detailed records of your expenses. If you are serving a fresh item, if you are a baker and you want to show a platter of individual cookies, first of all, you want to have that covered with some sort of clear dome top so that it keeps the pests, the flies and stuff off of it. But you're going to want to serve that with tongs, right? Or you're going to want to put gloves on to touch that food and serve it. I would say if it's an individual serving item, put it on a napkin to serve it. That's probably the cheapest. But if you are taking your gloves off because now to get their money, you have to change your gloves, that box of gloves is only $3 to $10, but if you have to buy 5 or 6 of those throughout the season, that's going to be an expensive cost, and you're going to be working on very slim margins to begin with. So the tongs, something washable, maybe buy 2 or 3 of them at the dollar store. So if you drop one, you have another clean pair already available on the site. Keep those clean utensils in a Tupperware container with the lid on it, some kind of, while you're traveling, those things stay safe and clean. But those expenses of all of those items that you're purchasing, keep a list of those. And that needs to be used while you're considering your pricing. So you might get into the season and you feel like you're losing money, you're not making money. That means that your expenses are higher than you thought they were going to be, and you might need to consider looking at your pricing. So let's talk about some of that. But of all of the most important thing on this page is just to be sure that you're in charge of your business and that you need to be vigilant with your record keeping process. Whew, and that's it. That's the whole ball of wax. So we are going to be deploying a sign-up sheet that allows vendors to click on a Google Drive link, and you can go in and reserve vegetable or food vendors 4 sites at a time. And we want to encourage you to visit multiple markets. That's how you're going to really capitalize on this farmers market being a true side hustle. This is how you're going to really ratchet up your income, is to visit multiple markets across the region. So hope you take advantage of the sign-up sheet. It's going to give you all the contact information you need for the different market managers. And if you have any questions, reach out to us on Greater Wabash Food Council Facebook page. These other contact methods here are also an option, and we're going to do our best to keep everybody happy, healthy, and prosperous through this farmers market season. Thank you very, very much for participating in the video, and you can leave comments in below. Thank you so much.